make a heart petal. Well, I have some fabric mesh here. I have some poly burlap. I have some horizontal wide stripe. I even have some 21-inch, and I'll show you how to make a big heart, 21-inch heart petal that you could make. Actually, you guys know I like to make those big petals. What you're going to need is your mesh, some zip ties, a couple clips. Grab 3 clips. So this is the fabric mesh. So you can see mine is a very pronounced heart. That's fabric meshed. It's a little smaller depending how you manipulate it. I'll show you. This is poly burlap. This is the new pre-cut mesh. So, and then this is the horizontal wide stripe. So as you can see, all my hearts are very pronounced hearts and look like hearts. Okay, let's get started. All right, so depending on, you need 3 clips. I'm going to use 3 clips. We're going to use a couple zip ties. You can definitely use 4-inch zip ties if you have them. The little smaller zip ties. You want to make a square, so measure out your mesh. So this fabric mesh is 10.5 inches, so I'm going to cut a 10.5 square. You do not need to wood burn or heat seal or whatever. Just cut your mesh into a square. This is a 10.5 by 10.5 inch piece of fabric mesh. Curl up. Okay, so that means it's curling up. You're going to turn it into a diamond shape. You're going to take the top corner, bring it down to the bottom corner. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a clip. I'm going to put it just on the right side, just on the left side. Okay. Just like when we're doing like a Bubba petal or a Rita petal, or like this is the actual rose petal, right? All right, we're good. Now what you're going to do is you're going to fold this in half. We're going to find the center. We're going to find the actual center of the petal. So fold it in half and pinch right at the corner here where you folded it in half. All right. And then you're going to open it up. We'll open so that the 2 edges are up. I'm putting the end right where I folded it. I'm just using my grid here on my cutting mat. All right, so this is the center. I'm going to put my finger down. And then I'm going to push where my finger is. I'm going to push it, and I can see through the mesh. I'm going to push it about 1.5 inches in, so right there. So I'm going to pinch it right there so I know where the 1.5 inches is, okay? And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to push it in like this. And it's going to give you this like fold like that, right in the center here, right? Okay, don't let go of that. Then you're going to take a zip tie. And like I said, you can use little zip ties. I'm just using the normal 6-inch zip ties, 18 pound. I'm going to take this and about, you can, again, if you want to make sure that all your hearts are exactly the same size, you're going to put, you can see through your thing, I have the end of this right on the half, and I'm going to put my zip tie, I'm just going to put it right through the material. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to do this up. Okay, and then we're going to cut that zip tie off. Now the more pronounced, or the more you push it down, the more pronounced the outer, you can already see that it's starting to form a heart, right? Okay, so this is the back side because your zip tie head is right there. Then you can flip it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch it right down the center. So we already know exactly where the center is, just like that. All right, and again, you can use your grids on your cutting mat. I'm going to bring this in, this in. So what people are doing is they're making the lolly petal and then folding it in at the top here. If you want a true looking heart, this is how you do it. All right, then you can take this off, and then you're gonna bring this in. Okay, I just kind of pinch it here and bring it to the center. Now we're gonna be able to adjust it. Bring it to the center. I'm not putting a zip tie around the bottom yet until I'm finished adjusting what I want to adjust. So you'll see that you have these kind of edges, not edges, this corner here where you've pinched it at the sides. And don't worry, I'll be doing this a couple times. Push those to the back, okay? See these little thingies? Push them to the back, okay? Just move this down a bit. And you can sculpt it. It actually, if you're doing measuring like I'm doing, it'll come out the same way every time. And then what I'm going to do is, I got a stapler here. No glue, okay? You're going to take that one corner, because you can keep it like that and it'll sit up a little higher, which is totally fine, okay? Once you start playing on how to do this petal, you'll get different ways. I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to take these two corners and just slightly overlap those two corners, and you'll see it's the two corners, when you overlap it, is right in the middle. You can see where the middle is because the zip tie's there, right? I'm going to take a stapler. I'm just going to staple those two corners together, just like that. You're not going to see the staple, and if the staple does fall off, your mesh, it'll probably take, you know, a long time for it to fall off. Your mesh will already be formed like that anyways, so you don't have to worry about the stapler. All right. And now you can sculpt it, and we're going to put a zip tie at the bottom. That right when you're done, because you can still see this side is a little bit bigger. I can still adjust it to how I want. This one's going to go smaller right there. Now the closer you get to the top here, the smaller your heart will be. Do you see that? So, and then I'm going to put a zip tie on the bottom. Okay, then you cut your zip tie off. So the end of your zip tie at the bottom is the last thing you're going to do. Okay, we're going to do a couple more. You would cut that off. Okay, and there's your heart. Let's do it with some poly burlap. Now the poly is 10 inches. Poly burlap is a lot easier to do it with because it's softer and moldable. So your poly burlap is a 10 by 10. I'm turning it into a corner. I'm going to put the top corner down to the bottom corner. I put a clip on here just to keep them together so I'm not, you know, you're not struggling. We'll put another clip over here. Poly burlap is really good too. For this one, you're going to fold it in half, meet the corners up. Okay, and that way you can find exactly where the center is, right? So you're just, there's the center. I'm pinching that center and I'm going to open it up. And again, I use my grid. So I'm just going to push that down. So I'm not going to move my finger because that is the exact center of the mesh. And I'm going to pinch about 1.5 inch down the center. And I can, like I said, I can see through my mesh. And then where pinch it right there, and then you're going to push the mesh towards where you pinched it. Okay, and you're going to get a nice like fold like that. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm going to put a zip tie right about maybe just a 1/4 inch from where that corner is protruding out there. Just put your zip tie about a 1/4 inch in. All right, so you can just feed your zip tie through. So I see a lot of people are doing the lolly petal first and then trying it. Don't do it that way. Well, you can if you want. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but this way is a little easier. I'm just doing it it's really easy once you get going, okay? All right, so now I'm going to flip it over because where the zip tie is, that's the back. Flip it over, and now you got the center. We're going to pinch right down the center just like that, okay? So I got the heart shape on my line here. I like to make sure, you know, I'm going to pinch it in on this line. So on the bottom part, I'm going to pinch it into the center on the same line. Okay? Then you're going to just pinch and bring it to the center. Pinch, bring it to the center. Okay, and now we're going to mold it. Don't put a zip tie on yet because you want to mold it. Now, what you want to see how this is sticking up, you can push that back. All right. Again, you can fold it over. Now I wouldn't, you're going to get some frays with the poly burlap. I wouldn't worry too much about it because you're not going to see any of that unless somebody actually takes, you know, the petals off your wreath. And I'm just going to give it a staple on the back. You can put a zip tie through it. You can glue it. I don't want anybody burning their fingers, and this is why I'm doing this. But look how nice the poly burlap is for the heart. Okay. There we go. And then you're going to put a zip tie at the bottom. So you'll see, I was seeing a lot of people, you know, starting off with the, starting off their heart with the lolly petal. Like I said, there's no right or wrong. This is just easier and will make the perfect heart. Nice, right? Poly burlap is the best one to use. So we got poly burlap. We did the horizontal wide stripe is 10.5. This is a horizontal wide stripe. I had this for some cut for a poinsettia, so that's why it's already cut, but I believe it's 10.5. Same thing, turn it into a diamond shape. You're gonna bring that corner down. Okay, you're just lining up the edges here. I just put clips on there because I like to fold it over. I want to see exactly where the center is, so my hearts, all my hearts will be exact same size. Okay, flip it over, match the corners up here and here. You're only matching it up so you can find the actual center of that piece. Pinch it, open it up, pinch about 1.5 inches down. So this is where I'm pinching. Then you're going to take this middle and you're going to push it. Drag it and push it till you hit where you pinched. You make that fold. We're going to put a zip tie through. Oops. I go with the zip tie. If you want to make sure your hearts are the same size every time, I'm just going about 1/4 inch from the bottom here to where I put the zip tie, and then I'm zip tying it. We have a whole playlist of petal folds. This will be just called the heart petal. All right, looks like wings. Okay, we're going to pinch it in the middle. I like to make sure. Okay, I'm going to use this line, bring it in, use this line, bring it in, bring the edge. Now you can kind of roll it, because there's different ways. You can actually, if you roll it and bring it to the center, you'll make more of a 3D petal. Like that. But I kind of like just the in, because we are going to sculpt it. Again, don't put the zip tie on yet at the bottom. We're going to mold it. Super easy to mold it. Again, you're not going to see these corners that are kind of sticking up, and they will, if you want, they will kind of lift your heart up off the wreath if you want it like that. If you want it more flat, you're going to take those, the two corners there that are sticking up, just bring them in together just a bit, little overlap, and I just staple it. Okay, now we can put our zip tie on the bottom. Like I said, the closer you go to the top, the smaller your heart will be. And now, if your one side appears to be bigger than the other, I haven't done my zip tie up totally tight. You can adjust, so you can still move the sides in. So if this is like way too big on this side, you can grab it and bring it down and make sure it's even. Okay, before you actually commit and do that zip tie up. You don't need to be concerned about the staples. The staples are just there. But if this staple were to fall out, it's not a big deal. By the time the wreath is made, the mesh is going to have that fold. It's going to keep its shape anyways. You can also glue. You might burn your finger. You can glue that. You can leave it. Or you can go through with another zip tie. It's totally up to you. I'm just showing you the way I do it. All right? Look how pretty that heart is. So that's that's horizontal wide stripe. That's fabric mesh. That's poly burlap. Let's use a piece of the new cut mesh. I know a lot of you have messaged us about the pre-cut mesh. We should have a massive stock of every color by the end of January. There's a delay with shipping as usual because it's coming from overseas. It's delayed a week or two, but we will have pretty much, I know that it's there, we'll have all the colors by the end of January. Okay, so this is the pre-cut mesh. It's already cut at a 10.5-inch piece. Take that top and bottom. So that is the cut mesh. And then again, you can still adjust by pulling up and down the sides here to make sure that your heart. Do you want to do a 21-inch? I'm going to use this gorgeous, look at this, deluxe foil 21-inch. So you're going to roll out your 21-inch. I like to clip mine to my cutting mat. I used to have longer. There it is. I just clip it with some clips just to hold it in place. Okay. You want to make sure the bottom is on the bottom one of the lines, so you're making sure that you're cutting a straight square. And I'm going to cut it at the 21 inch. And it is the exact same concept that we did with the 10 inch. You're going to do with the 21 inch. Just makes a big petal. And you only need 8 of these big petals. Unroll it so it's curl up. Turn it into a diamond. Bring the top corner down to the bottom corner. This one I'm putting a clip at the bottom. Just clip it. It's just so much easier to manipulate your mesh if you just use some clips. Okay. Okay, we're going to flip it over. Make sure. I will edit this and put it on YouTube. It is pretty much, it's deluxe foil. I believe we have it in 10 inch and 21. All right, so I'm gonna flip it over. Just flipping it over to find the center. There's our center. Open it up. Right. And this one I'm gonna go down about two and a half inches. So I'm going to pinch right at, so my end of my mesh is right here and going down about 2.5 inches. I'm going to pinch, kind of open it up, take this part and push it to where I had these fingers. Take the zip tie, again, same concept, about a 1/4 inch up. Bring your zip tie through the mesh. We're going to pinch, kind of pinch it right down the center because we already have our center mark here. Oops, I didn't measure. Okay, so this is what you got. It's the exact same thing, just on a little bit of a bigger scale. Now we can roll these in if you want. It makes more, actually it looks like a tulip. God, I shouldn't have said that. But we won't. We're just going to keep on the heart. I want to kind of swoop it like this because I want it rounded. Don't worry about this because we're going to push that back anyways. Okay. Clip it. And I'm going to push these corners that are sticking. I'm going to push it. Just like that. Could have moved. Fold that corner in. Fold that one in. If you don't want to use a staple, I'll show you it's a little bit easier on here. You can just grab another zip tie. Go through the mesh, almost like a stitch. Just make sure you go on through both pieces of the mesh. There we go. Do it up. to sculpt it. Now, we can move it around. This one is obviously, we're going to adjust this side. Now we'll adjust this side. Now don't forget, if you're doing a big one like this, I think you only need 8 petals. Needed to adjust. Okay, then you would trim off. Put your zip tie head to the side, trim that off, and then you just trim off the excess at the bottom. Again, the closer, so if you wanted to make a smaller heart using the 21 inch, you would zip tie closer up to the top, and then you would get this size heart. So it's just all about adjusting your mesh and measuring, okay? Measuring to make sure, and keep, maybe just jot down your measurements for your first one. That way when you're making your other ones, you know, okay, I put the end of my mesh on 17 inches. I pushed it to, 14 inches and did the zip tie 1/4 of an inch up from the 14 inches. Okay, but anyways, that is all I wanted to show you. Like I said, do it however you want, but these are just a good way that you don't waste up your supplies and you don't injure yourself by burning your fingers. So this was a poinsettia I made at Christmas. So I'm using row 5. You could put your heart petal, do all your petals for whatever petal you want to do. This is the Bubba petal. I would, on row 5, stick the end of your petal in. Okay, just like that. Do your zip tie up just above the zip tie, like that. All right, and then you can do that all the way around, and then just put your center on. Okay, then if you do hearts all the way around, it's going to take a lot of time. You can do it, but I'm just showing you guys, if you just do the inner one, the inner row, it's a lot easier, faster, and still gives that wow, right? And thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.